I came here September 1960 from Jamaica. It was a bit of a shock, really, because not expecting it to be, you expect you to be locked in. Back home, you're out in the open, you know, and the sunshine and stuff. Then it's cold and you just look through, sometimes no sun. It was a bit of a shock to the system. Come here to make a better life, really, hoping that you would be able to work yourself and, you know, up and get be more comfortable. I was around 22 when I come here, yeah. And it was rough because, as I said before, this moving, you couldn't settle, there was no hot water. It was really rough, and I did get depressed, I must be honest to you. And we didn't even know of depression those days. We didn't know. They tell us that, okay, doctors was no help. They told me that I was what? I had sickle cell anemia, because most black people, that's what this doctor told me, I'll never forget, that comes here suffer with that thing. And my white cells was eating up the red cells, and that was nothing of the kind. I thought I was going to die, believe me, because I get so depressed I can't explain it. Anyway, we carry on and I tried and I don't know, I just get out of it, because there was not, I didn't have that sickle cells, but something lifted me out of this depression. I don't know what. It wasn't the doctors, it was, but we get on from there, we carry on with life, you know. It was tough. When we moved into this house, that was a funny thing as well. Gone to work, we get up and go to work. When we come back in the evening, they used to have some little rock dolls. They used to call, what they call them? I forget now. But each time, most evening we come in, there was always one on the windowsill out there. Gollywog, that's right. They used to call them. But then you said, you know what? We ain't going nowhere. This is our house now, and we are staying here. So we've been through hell, believe me. But thank God, we overcome it. When I came here, you know, the clothing business was really in swing, the Jews, you know, so I worked in the clothing for a while. For the 20 years I've worked with the healthcare, thank God. I care for older people, you know, which I come out of that job with my head holding high. Thank God I've done a good job in it. My son was always be BSM driving instructor. Yes, he's still doing that. And my daughter is doing well as well. She works in this German bank duet in the Shoreditch, I think, somewhere down the city. And so they're doing good. Yeah, they're doing very well. Oh, just lunch club is was very good. You know, you get out the house for a day, and until now we really enjoy that day out. You meet people, we talk, we have a little game. It was always good. No bad name for Chats Lunch Club. It gave us a lift. The most difficult part was in the living condition. I think that was the worst thing for us, most of us that come here in the early 60s and stuff, because the convenience was terrible. One room, and mind you have kids as well, you know, and there was no hot water. You couldn't. Sometimes we had to cook on the landing from moving from place to place. Another thing was a bad thing for us. Everybody used to use the same cooker. You go to work and you put money in tonight. When you come and you switch on the gas, it just went, somebody used it. It was disgraceful. So we had some rough times. But we get through it. And it's good now, thank the Lord. You know, we sail through it. I always like Hackney. It's funny. Most people in the early part, they always put Hackney down, don't they? But from I move here and live here, I enjoy every day. It's good. And as you know now, it's getting up and up and up. Hackney, I'll never give it up. I won't move anywhere else. It's good. Because I've got family there still. And I did make preparation to go back and settle there. But after, sometimes I used to go and spend 3 months, sometimes 2 months, 4 months. And when I'm there, I feel like I want to come back home, you know, and that is the problem. And so I changed my mind completely. And I said, this is my home, yeah.
I came when my mom sent for me when I was 9 years old. I came by ship with some children, and I remember when I was on the ship, we come to Southampton, where we had to meet our parents. And when we come out of boat, they put us in a line, and we have to face that way. So they call our parents, and when they call your parents' name, you have to come to them. But when I come to London, my belly was big, because my auntie, who was supposed to look after me while I was home, she wasn't looking after me. My mom sent some money to look after me until when she's ready to come and send for me. And when my mom saw me, she said, no, this is for my daughter. Because I came up with an empty suitcase, and my belly was big, and they had to take me to the hospital. So while I was in the hospital, I spent 2 weeks at the hospital, because when I done my motion, I had a lot of little worms, and they kept me there for 2 weeks before they let me out to clean inside of me. And then after I was better, then I came to live with my mom, go to school in London. But I used to get bullied in the school, so I had a friend, and it was mostly girls that was bullying me. And one day, I think it was 4 of them bullying me. So a friend of mine, she came and said I was getting bullied, and she said, why are you bullying her? Because I'm a quiet person, not on top of nobody. But she said to them, if you bully her, you have to bully me. And they don't bother me again. And everywhere we go to my mom go look for a place to stay, we don't want no blacks. So we went to other place, the same thing, we don't want no black. Same thing, no black. And it was one house we went to, and they took us, and we was living downstairs. But the trouble was, every time my mom put money in the gas, when you come to use the gas, there's no money in it. So the people who was living there, they use it. And it's like, you got a mattress, everybody sleep together. Oh, it was awful. My mom worked. She was doing cleaning. She worked. She had 5 brothers. They passed away, and she had to wash. She had to do everything for them brothers. and there's only one brother left. It's that one on the picture you see there. And she worked hard. Because I remember when we came to London, we were staying in some people place, and because we're black, the white people didn't rent a room for us, and we was living downstairs when it was snowing, and when you open the door, you can go outside because the snow covered the door. When I went to London, Hackney, I went to Lawrence School, that's on Victoria, and I used to get bullied in the school. I didn't do no exam because when my mom come to London, we was moving house to houses. So I can remember when I left, and I didn't do no exam. I didn't do anything really, and it was just move from house to house. Not much job I was doing. I was machining, working in a pub, cleaning. I'm working in a nursery, giving the children getting their dinner ready for school. Hackney is my home, but to go back to my country, not to live, because my son asked me, "Would Mom, would you go back home to live?" I told him no, because this is my home now, and it's not the same when I was growing up. It's different now. And Hackney, you get help, but in the Caribbean you don't get much help, and that's the only reason I wouldn't go back to my country. Holiday yes, but not to live.
Oh, I come here 1981, and I live in Hackney here. I think it's 30 years now, 30 years, yeah, nearly. I'm from Vietnam, yeah. I work before I just play in the group, the musician. I play accordion. Yeah, when Chinese and Vietnam fighting, my wife is Chinese, so we are much live Vietnam to fight, some country to, the Vietnam when is said you have Chinese, you can stay in here. You must go out of your country, So go to China, same Vietnam, community country. So we are go to Hong Kong, and to Hong Kong to waiting, go to a freedom country to live, So I joined England. We are go to the boat, the boat where they get money, pay for someone who got the boat, and they get money, We have got some money, everything, some gold ring, everything give him, and go, yeah. Very good. I said, the England, it saved my life, Yeah, the children small. They got school, got meal. Yeah. In Vietnam, we have worked very hard, Not enough food, not enough. Yeah, everything clothes and everything. You see, come here, we have got the food, got the school. Yeah, everything. I think we are lucky. I work many jobs, Go to clean in the factory, and go to washing up in the Chinese restaurant. Many jobs. I do, yeah. I said, Hackney is my home, and my children, all the lives live in here, so no go home. Yeah.
My first time to come to this country is 1972, near Christmas time. I think it's November, November 1972. Yeah, and I live Hackney when I first came to this country. I live in Hampstead. Yeah, not here, but after few years, I think maybe 1 year, moved out to Hackney. Moved to Hackney and live in Greenwood Road, just next to it. You know, it's also is E8, same location, same area. Oh, the journey is a big difference has now, you know. You know, in that time, you know, the aeroplane is, you know, the journey. I mean, that is the travel time. Oh, it's over 24 hours, sometimes 28 hours, you know. And the flight, you know, the plane is the charter flight. You understand the charter flight? It's a very old aeroplane, a very old plane. Very troubling. It's very crowded, overcrowded, and the plane like that, and take long time to come here. No, I feel upset. I don't like to come, but you know, my mom pushed me to come. Because, you know, I don't have any friend here, you know, only a few people, and it's a very stranger place here, you know. It's my first time to come to the overseas, you know. It's my first time. I feel it's everything is strange. Yeah, and I'm afraid to go out by myself, you know, because when I first came, my English is not because you know, in Hong Kong we didn't speak English regular, only speak the Cantonese. So when I first came, I'm not get used to speak English and not really understand what the people talking about. Even when I went out to shopping, you know, I can't see the price. I'm not sure, you know, and not sure to speak what I want, you know. That's the problem. No, I'm a housewife. I stay with my husband, but he's working in outside London. Just come back once a week. I think there is more isolated with the races, you know, in that century, you know. Plenty racial, you know, about the English people, you know. They always, you know, when they look at our face, and even my children at school, they came back to tell me, Mom, they said, ching ching, as, you know, Chinese is ching ching, you know. And they will laughing about us, you know, when they saw we go out, and sometimes saw the youth, you know, the king there, you know, they just laughing at us, you know. They don't like, I think they don't like the Chinese people in that time. No, I consider Hackney is my home now. My daughter in the school, and he saw advertising about the Chinese community center is open soon, and she told me when she come home, and I feel very happy with that. And then I asked my daughter to copy the address for me, and I went to find them, and then I worked there as a volunteer and make friends in there. So I feel I'm not lonely and happy with the friend, and happy to be a volunteer to work for the community center.
I came to this country when I was 10 in 1965. It was 2 days before Christmas, so 23rd of December. And it's quite a strange experience because my dad had divorced our mother, and he'd gone back to Pakistan, and said to us that he was taking us out on a day trip, and next thing we knew, we were on our way to England. That was the first time we'd been out of our city, in fact, which was Faisalabad. And it was coming to this country, it was about 4 o'clock, I remember, when the plane landed. So we came across on the flyover, and it looked really dark and dingy. And I was really sort of quite depressed and thinking, God, what have I come to? Because there was not much light, and it was strange just seeing the tops of houses from the flyover, and yeah, it's very eerie sort of feeling. Yeah. So I mean, the reason we came over was because our father, who'd been in this country since 1955, the year I was born, and he'd come over here and worked and sent money back, and then eventually after 10 years he went back and got us to give us a better life. So that was the main reason that we came over. It was quite a difficult journey, and then also with that trauma of leaving our mother behind and not having said goodbye to her was really traumatic and upsetting. Our father, he was very strict, and he wouldn't, when we came to this country, he wouldn't let us speak in our own language. And he said, if you want to learn English, you've got to speak in English. So he would actually hit us if we spoke in Punjabi. And so after about 6 months, we were pretty fluent in English, because that's all we could speak in. Apart from when he wasn't around, then obviously we could. Yeah, so we learned English, but over the years, we partly because of that, we didn't speak our native language. We've forgotten it. So when I talk to other Pakistani people, or when we go back to Pakistan, it's quite embarrassing that you can't speak the language that you grew up in. So I came here when I was 10, and before coming here I was reading novels, history books, all sorts of things, and in Urdu, and yeah, so all of that is lost and gone forever. My first school was a junior school, so literally I had, I think, about 1 year there, or 1 and a bit year, and it was very strange because I couldn't speak English when I first started there, but obviously after about 6 months or something I could. And there was quite a lot of racism at the school, so we'd get sometimes we had this dancing thing where we'd sort of twirl around each other. So it was a mixed class with boys and girls, and we'd twirl around each other and they had to touch each other's hands. So whenever it came to somebody touching my hand, the kids would basically roll down their jumper and put it over their hand like that, and then just sort of touch me like that. So it just felt so disrespectful and hurtful to be treated like that, that you were something that you couldn't be touched. But I think there wasn't any understanding of Pakistani culture, and people just saw us as total foreigners, aliens, and people, not to be really liked. And the other instances of racism. So I think if you came to this country during those periods and lived here all your life, you're going to get quite a lot of instances of racism. But yeah, there was loads of other instances. So going to a place to find a room, to a house, sometimes they would literally have signs, no blacks, no Irish. And other times you knew that the room was still available, but they said no, it's gone. And on a few occasions they just open the door to you, look at your face, and just slam the door without saying a word. That was pretty clear that they didn't want you around. So yeah, finding accommodation was pretty difficult. Well, generally I would say I've been having a really happy life in this country, and so going to football matches, supporting Chelsea, and obviously the weather is quite different from between the two countries. Over there, actually, it gets so hot in the summer; it's like about 40 degrees, and it's quite unbearable. So, like this summer, we've had nearly 40 degrees in the UK, and that was quite unbearable. So, as I've lived in this country, I've acclimatized to the weather, and I really, really like the English weather. I like the mixtures of different seasons, and even in a single day you could have rain, you could have sleet, you could have sunshine. So it's really nice, because living in a country where there's constant sunshine is I don't know, it gets a bit boring, and I don't particularly like it. So I like the weather, English weather, and really appreciate it. I do consider myself living in this country for the rest of my life, because my wife is English, white English, and so my children are mixed race, and that's all they've known is basically this country. I did take them back to Pakistan for a couple of weeks about 3 or 4 years ago, which they really enjoyed, seeing that aspect of their heritage. But I can't imagine me ever going back and living in Pakistan, or in fact any other country, because I just like Hackney and London so much.
I came from Barbados in 1962 to do nursing. At that time, the Labour Minister was, I forget his name now. I just looked it up, I forget it. Anyway, the one that talked about the rivers of blood. Enoch Powell, right. He was Enoch Powell, and he came to some of the Caribbean islands to recruit people to come and work on the transport and nursing. So I came as a nurse.
Oh yes, I from Jamaica, yes. The journey was all right, because at the time it was a flight and a plane, But those people on the boat, have a different experience, because they take over what, 2 weeks or something like that. Yeah, but the plane, just come and really, So it was all right, coming up. But when I come off, it was a different thing, because I see all those buildings, because the chimney with the smoke, and everything, and the trees. That was the one again, because all the trees, no leaf in it. And I was a countryman, and I always look, get woods, and where I cut up my woods. And I said, wait, all these trees dry?
Yeah.
But the chimney is the same thing I was thinking of. It says all factories,
Yeah.
So it was a different experience, all right. They say, I did, a low-paid job, back home. And I say, I could really make a lot of money up here,
And you had a girlfriend, didn't you?
Yeah,
That
my
you married
girlfriend,
your
my
first wife?
girlfriend, she was
Yeah.
up here as well, because her sister they get married up here before her, and sent to her, and she helped me come up as well. Yeah, but my greatest experience, down Fort, I worked down Fort for 25 years. And I was lucky because at the time when I supposed to start work, I did just go there, expect, to them interview me. But they want me to work right away. And I said, no, because I was working at Hackney Hospital and I never gave notice yet. So I said, I have to go back so I go back, I give a week notice and go back to Ford, yeah.
Well, I like Hackney, and I got lots of friends in Hackney, so I still see it as my home. And yes, I used to work at this organization in Stoke Newington called Claudia Jones Organization. I don't know if you've heard of it. You've been there? Right, yeah. So I worked there for about 5 years. I was a health worker there. Yeah, and yeah, I learned a lot about Black history and all those things, going to the library, CLR James Library, and to the cinema at Hackney, and, taking part in those things. So yeah, I'm always in Hackney, really.
Well, Hackney was really nice. But that's why I lived there, this long,
You
because
live longer than
when
me
you
did,
talk
so,
about transport, yeah, every transport you need, you could really get it at Hackney, and at the time when I just come, there they have a shower bar, where they have the fire station out, Amaton.
the baths, yeah, where you go and bathe.
So I always go out there and have my shower and yeah, everything like that. And it was nice because all these parks around, when it come on summer, you couldn't find a space out Duns Park to lie down. It's so full of, everybody lie down like this out Duns Park when it come on summer. And we always play cricket and all those things. It was really, I enjoy myself in Hackney, man. Yeah.
But I did love the snow when I came.
Well,
See the snow on the ground, and it's so lovely and beautiful.
And when back home, no one ever complained about music.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
that was the biggest thing here. We have a dance and the police, them always come round
It's
and
true.
raid it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
them always purposely because, our
talking
curry
too
goat,
loud, too
it
loud.
don't have nothing to do with them, all right. They think about drugs, but they always have this over us. We never have a license to sell drink. So there's confiscated, all these drinks.
Yeah,
and they
food
take
and
away our
everything.
pot of curry goat.
Yeah. I know we were in Forest Gate. A friend of mine was having a party. People didn't even turn up yet, and the music they were playing, and the next thing the police came, and that was it. Party finished.
They complain because they never
They used
really,
to complain, yeah.
the music, they never hear it before like that.
I know.
But eventually, they get used to it after a while because after the carnival start and everything, everything start to really come in place because those times you have the Teddy Boy and two more, what do you call them now?
Yeah, well, the last, I can't
You have
even
a couple
remember
of
the
them,
name now.
we always racist,
Yeah.
Yes, but after a while, everything started really coming in line, because they started really enjoy our meal and our music. And
Get
we
married,
all become friends after.
intermarried, but yeah, it's still quite racist.
One
We
and
still
few
got
now, but
quite-
compared
still a
to
lot of
those days,
racism. It's a very
everything
seldom,
really changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I think about the weather now, as I said, those time you couldn't really outside like this.
No, we'll be
Your hands
freezing.
freeze because a long time I don't see no one scraping off cars. Because those time, every time you
It's
come
coming,
out,
yeah.
it's snow and frost. You got to scrape off your car before you get inside.
Well, I think they need to know first about their heritage, where they come from, the reason why they are in this place now, because of their generation which came here in the past, of course, to make a better life, some succeed and some haven't succeed. So I think, yeah, anyone, they need to know where they come from so that they can line up where they are now and to realize that life isn't easy, you know.
I came in England 1973 and I moved to Hackney when I got married, 1980. And my husband worked for the council. I had 3 kids. I had 1 kid when I moved here. You know, the reason we come here, they sent me here because we were so poor. And for the girls to get married in Cyprus, you need to build the house over there. So otherwise, nobody marry you. That's why my father and mother decided to send me here. What can I say? I did like it. But I came to stay, you understand what I mean? So when I got married, I have to stuck here after that. I mean, it was an auntie, my auntie, God bless her, she's not here anymore. But she helps me a lot. Even when I got engaged, she paid for the ring. I didn't have nothing. She bought the ring. My ring and his. Because he was a poor man, you know. We didn't mix a lot with the English people. That's why. We all mixed with the Greeks. We worked in the factory, it was all Greek people. That's why we did learn the English. But I didn't went to school. You know, I wanted to go to school to learn English in the beginning. But after I had a baby, it was a bit difficult, so I did. When we moved here, I liked it because people say Hackney is no a good place, and for me it was very good because my husband worked for the council. He used to get a little bit more money than he used to get before. My life became a little bit better that time. And my 3 kids, all my kids, they went Hackney school, finished Hackney school. I'll go to Cyprus tomorrow. I will never come back. Yeah, if I had just 1 room over my head, but I got nothing in Cyprus. My family was so poor. We was 8 kids, 4 brothers, 4 sisters. We big family, so we didn't have anything. I mean, some people, they got land over there. They go their own house. I know a lot of people live here, Greek people, but we have nothing. I have nothing there for me.
So Hackney is actually one of the first places that we moved to when we came to the UK in 1990. It was Stamford Hill. My family moved from Malatya to Antep, and then from there we moved to Istanbul. In 1989, my dad moved to the UK. He actually immigrated. He's a political asylum seeker in the UK. And in 1990, we came to the UK to join my dad. It was me, my mum, and my sisters. The journey, as I remember, wasn't very difficult, but it was quite scary in the beginning. I was 8 years old, and I was like, okay, this is very different. Very, very different to how we kind of imagined it to be. It was scary in terms of the language. It was scary in terms of the culture. At school, I found it very difficult going to school in the beginning. I think that was one of my biggest challenge, being able to kind of feel that I fit in to the school community. Not being able to speak English at all. I had a friend who would translate for me, but I was also bullied because of that. And I think that was a very, very difficult experience. Something that took very long for me to get over with. And but then slowly and gradually being part of the bigger community in London and going to the Kurdish community centre was slowly giving us the ability and the opportunity to integrate, to be a part of the diverse community that Hackney is. I worked at the Kurdish Community Centre as a advisor and interpreter for the community, just like they worked for us in the past, for my family and me. I did that for a number of years. I worked as a employment and a career advisor for Kurdish, Turkish and Cypriot women in Hackney, which was funded by Hackney Council for the Kurdish women's organisation, Roj Women, which I enjoyed very much, working with women who found it very difficult to integrate, to speak English, or kind of like find their way in London, to get out of the house, to be able to do something for themselves, help them write a CV, help them how to find a job and what is it exactly they wanted to do as a job. I'll help them kind of establish their interests, and that was very rewarding actually. I think Hackney has got to be the most diverse borough in London. I say that because you know, I've done a lot of stuff in Islington, I've done a lot of stuff in Haringey, Enfield, but I think Hackney has a different feel. Hackney is more welcoming. Hackney is more friendly. I feel that. Even like walking up Stoke Newton High Road or walking up around Wells Street areas, going up there. I know it has different feelings, but it's just more diverse and you feel more comfortable. The food culture in Hackney is very diverse. So you can just get up and say, oh, I want to have some curry today. You know where to go. I want to have a nice kebab. You know where to go. And it accommodates a massive number of different food. And the food culture is just, I think it's very important, and it brings people together and it allows communities to express themselves. So it's a very good tool for you to be able to express your culture and what you are and who you are. I would love to go back to Kurdistan, but unfortunately I can't. And if I did, I wouldn't be very welcomed. And as a result of that, as a result of my political views and what I stand for, I might end up being imprisoned myself, because looking at what people are going through, looking at what all the political activists, and not just political activists, anybody that says or expresses themselves on social media or even speaking to one another are being attacked. And I say attacked, I'm not talking about physical attack. Yes, there is that physical attack, but I'm talking about attack on your views, your political views and who you are. You're arrested and taken to prison and wait for months or years for a trial, and you're there, and I would not be able to live there, but because of these reasons. But I would love to one day, because I do. Now London is my home, but my original home is Kurdistan, but it's not a free Kurdistan. It's an oppressed Kurdistan. It's an occupied Kurdistan. And because of the occupation of my region, I won't be welcomed. I think it's very important that young people should be aware of different heritages, different cultures, different languages, different ethnicities than themselves that actually exist in Hackney. It would give them a better understanding about diversity, to be able to live together, to enjoy food together, to enjoy being together, to share spaces together. I mean, you go to Curve Garden, you'll see a nice, diverse community there. You'll listen to different languages of music, and you'll see different types of people. And you go down Stoke Newington, you see a variety of different people, different cultures, different languages. I mean, if you stand at one spot on Stoke Newington High Road, and if you just listen for 1 minute, all the bypasses, you'll hear different languages. You'll see different people. So I think it would be really good if we listen to them, and to be able to know each other and to understand where these cultures come from and why they're here. I think that will be a better way for them to understand why different communities actually exist in Hackney. Is it because they want to be here, or is it because they were forced to be here? Yeah, and then we'll feel each other. We'll be, living together in one borough. Together to be able to accept one another. I think within different communities, it's very difficult from one community to accept another community to live in one area together. So I think it'll be good for young people to start really thinking about where our neighbours are from, where my colleague is from, where my school friend is from, and it would give a wider perspective on the word of diversity.